We're going to give you some building blocks. How many of you will enjoy some building blocks for your knowledge-based business? So the first building block I always deal with and I always start with is who? Who is my customer? Who am I talking to? Who is going to be in the room? And when I understand my who, that helps. But the next question I have to ask myself in this building block, and this is where this will be familiar. You learned it in your second grade. So who? Some of you may already know. The next one is what? And then after that is why? And then how? How is always going to be the actions that we have taken, the actions we want the other people to take. What's next? What's next? After that, you're going to deal with the objections. The first building block, and this becomes who. Your who is your brand, your personal brand, who you are, but it's also the client that you want to deal with, the people that you want to do business with. Understanding your client. It's a little bit out of the screen, but you can hear me. Dealing with your client and then dealing with your personal brand. You need to understand not only your business brand, but also your personal brand. Who? So who am I reaching to and who do they say that I am? So when you're talking about your who, you're talking about not only them, but you're also talking about you, because you want to make sure you're projecting the right you to the right them, right? So if you're you and they're them, your message and they're them doesn't match, then you're actually with the wrong who. So I'm going to match my message with the right who. Who actually needs this, what I'm talking about? Who actually needs what I'm talking about? I want to make sure I connect with that. So that's building block one. Building block two is going to be founded around the idea of what? What are we talking about? What's the offer? Or what's the idea? What's the message? Right? So what's the message? That's the goal. What is the message? And your message is going to be founded upon three things. Remember the art and the power of testimony. I always use the analogy of going from the Egypt to the promised land. So everyone is looking to leave something and to arrive somewhere. So if you realize that that's the purpose of a message, is I'm helping someone leave something and arrive somewhere, has always been, and it's always been in business, because the goal of any sales is to get a person to leave something to arrive. The goal of any transformation in lifestyle, and most what we do in sales nowadays is not benefit sales, it is lifestyle sales. So our goal is to move a person from the lifestyle they're in and give them the aesthetic belief and understanding that they can go into the lifestyle that they want. That's to leave something, to arrive something. So your message starts with where they are going to leave and where they're going to arrive. So however you want to say it, it's up to you. Then the Bible tells us that there were 10 things, 10 tests. The Bible calls them tests that they had to go through in order to get from one place to another. Now that word test is different than the word test, like we're going to take a test. It's to taste it and to see, prove that it is what it is. So when you are telling people 5 steps, I want them to take the first step to prove it. I want them to take the second step to prove it. I want them to test my steps. And I want them to test my steps. If they test their steps, they're not going, I'm proving it wrong. They're testing the steps to prove it right. Keep that in mind when you're going to that proving. So when we go in the message, then we go in the why. The why has to do with everything that has to do with the purpose behind it, right? The purpose behind it. Why does a person want to come out of this? Well, there's pain there. They have pain there. Or they want to come to this. They're more focused on this. Well, then there's pleasure, right? Then there's pleasure. So I'm going to have to understand with my client, what is going to be the thing? Now, I'm going to talk to both clients. I'm not going to talk to just the client that wants the pain and just the client that wants the pleasure. I am going to talk to both. That is extremely important that you know their why, but you also know your why. Why did you want it? What was your why? What was the thing that you chose to, the reason you decided enough was enough? I was not going to go through this abuse anymore. Enough is enough. I'm not going to be poor anymore. Enough is enough. I'm not going to, right? What was your thing? Was it the pleasure, the lifestyle that you could see, or was it the pain, the lifestyle that you were in? Either one, the lifestyle was destined to change because you made a decision. Your decision, it's one thing to have a destiny. It's another thing to make a decision to get into that destiny. And that's what we want. We want people to live in their purpose and give them the decision. And so once they make the decision, then we're going to know the how. I'm going to build out my avatar for my who. I'm going to build out the message for that avatar. I'm going to build out the purpose behind it. What's the pain and the pleasure? What are they going to get out of it? What's their why? And then how? The things that I've got in my message. My message is, these are 5 steps that I did to learn how to barbecue hedgehogs. So, oh, sorry, the hedgehog. People, I just realized that could be offensive because people have pets, hedgehogs, pets. You know, you don't want to do that. Possum, no, because that's a real thing. All right. So anyway, the barbecue brisket, right? We're going to barbecue brisket. So we're going to put this brisket in this. And so these are my 5 steps. Now, my 5 steps is because the last time, this person wants to know my 5 steps because last time they had a barbecue, they had pain, or they tasted someone's barbecue and it was so delicious, whatever it is, right? They want to leave and they want to arrive. They have pain and they want pleasure. The purpose of it, they want to have an amazing brisket. So I'm giving them my 5 steps. You understand what that means? We're giving them 5 steps, and yeah, that's true. people have all these things that are pets, and so I see in the chat. So it says people have chickens as pets too. So we're going to just say brisket, whatever that is. All right. So what's next? Then this is your call to action. You want people to make the decision. You want them to now tell them exactly in detail, this is it. Go to this page. There's going to be a button on the bottom left. You're going to push that button, and what it's going to do is going to have a little drop down window, and you're going to put in your details. And when you put in the details, you're going to get an email response from us, or you're going to be able to directly download, or whatever that call of action is. I want you to call, and I want you to set up an appointment. Be as detailed as you can so people aren't confused by the process. If you can tell them what to do next, but call them to action, call them to that next step, whatever they're going to do, tell them exactly how to do it. Don't leave any confusion for them, but call them to do something. This is about action. You want them to get and take action. Action is the key to results. You want people to have results, you've got to get them to have action. And then the next is objections, and objections are all the things that would go in a person's mind. You want to think of why they can't do it, why they shouldn't do it, why they can't do it. So when you start to think through these things, you're going to think through these things and create these responses that help them think through that problem. Now we're not manipulating people, but we are helping people think through the problem. And so this is who, what, why, how, what's next. So when I'm building out anything, I'm building this out. So when I go to build out, I'm doing the same thing. All of these categories, whether I'm doing an online challenge, whether I'm doing a book, whether I'm doing a speech, whether I'm building an online course. Let me show you. I'm building an online course. When I'm building an online course, I have these things, and I'm going to bring these things into an understanding of we're going to bring a person from their pain to their pleasure. So that's the road. That's the track road. That's the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this the steps that are necessary. The steps that are necessary. So when I'm looking at building, let's say I'm building an online course, and my online course this is the pain that they're starting in. This is the pleasure that I want them to go to. I've already worked out all of the content. And so I'm going to put this on a timeline. So I'm going to say that this course is going to be, let's say, a 5-week, or let's say 6-week course. Let's say 5-week course. So 5-week course, because I have 5 ways to cook a brisket, right? So 5-week course, I'm going to put down on my timeline, these are the 5 things. First, the first thing I'm going to deal with the pain, and I'm going to build out the image of the pleasure. 1. So I may do this as a micro aspect, but then I'm going to do a macro aspect, which is going to be the first tool I'm going to give them. So I'm going to deal with whatever their issue is, and I'm going to drive that down. Then I'm going to just do the same thing: micro, macro, micro, macro, micro, macro. The micro is I'm building out, keeping these 2 things in mind, but I'm building this out, and so I'm laying it out, reverse engineering where I want them to go. They're going to start here, but I want them to arrive here. And so I'm going to reverse engineer the steps that they have to take to get to where they're going to go. And I'm going to use these concepts, the who. I already know the who. They're already in the business with me. So what, why, how, when. So what, when, what's or what's next. So let's say I'll do the first one is what. The second one is going to be my why. The third one is going to be my how. And the next one's going to be what's next. And then I'm going to deal with the objections. You can lay it out that way. And then in this, when I get to this is what we're dealing with, this is why we're dealing with it. And then I can break my five things in my how, what's next. If I'm building it out now, if I'm building out another course for them to step into or a coaching program, this is my online course. Then I want them to drip down into my coaching program, and then they're going to get into my coaching program, and they're going to work with me on, and I'm going to help them in building out this same aspect for their life and build out these 5 in their life, these 5 ways that I overcame, or these 5 ways that I built out a great brisket, an incredible brisket. So if that makes sense to you, I want you to understand that you have to think through these things yourself. Think through the who, the what, the why, the how, the what's next, the objections, and then work it out in this. If you're building a challenge, or if you're building a book, you build your book layout is going to be the same, your speech layout is going to be the same. And there's some moving parts here that you have to build in, but this is the basic process of a building blocks for your business. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Hey, if you like this video, you'll also like this video here. And if you want to continue to receive content like this, just go ahead and push the notification bell, subscribe, and then share this. And then we will continue to get the word out and help people understand that God has a plan for them. Using the scripture, we'll go to our next level. We'll build something incredible and make his name great.